an amazing event. Thank you so much. Good.
Start? Okay. Good morning, everyone, all over the world, and especially in Africa. My name is Ahmed Gamal. I'm from Egypt. I am a novice nurse, and I'm also membership director of GASIN. This is a global association for student and novice nurses. This is the first visit for me in Rwanda. Really, Kigali is very, very nice, evergreen and everywhere. I hope that's better future for Rwanda and Africa. In World Healthcare Student Symposium, I really appreciate this effort for pharmaceutical students in Rwanda. Expectation for WHSS to be the global voice. We have to talk, we have to deal with each other, we have to communicate well. Thank you very much and see you. Thank you.
Hello and good morning in this beautiful country. I'm Faisal Majzoub from Sudan. Thank you very much for hosting us here. I like this country, I like the conference. People are friendly and kind. I think this will be a great experience. I hope we'll all enjoy it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Victoria. I'm from Switzerland, and I'm president of the Swiss.
Hello, my name is Rawan Mustafa. I'm from Sudan. Hello, my name is Rawan Mustafa. I'm from Sudan, and I'm here in Kigali today to attend the World Health.
Go. Hello, hi to the world. I am Mohamed Bella Jallo. I am from Freetown, Sierra Leone. So this is my first time in Rwanda. So far, my first impression when I got to the airport, I mean, this place is beautiful. Like, everything is just amazing. The people at the airport, we are very, very much welcoming. So when I get there, I met the cab and made a phone call for me, and I had my pickup. So my expectations at the WHSS, I've come here to learn, network, and meet different students from all around the world. So I'm optimistic that this is going to be an amazing event. Thank you so much. Good.
Start? Okay. Good morning, everyone, all over the world, and especially in Africa. My name is Ahmed Gamal. I'm from Egypt. I am a novice nurse, and I'm also membership director of GASIN. This is a global association for student and novice nurses. This is the first visit for me in Rwanda. Really, Kigali is very, very nice, evergreen and everywhere. I hope that's better future for Rwanda and Africa. In World Healthcare Student Symposium, I really appreciate this effort for pharmaceutical students in Rwanda, and my expectation for WHSS to be the global voice of all healthcare. We have to talk, we have to deal with each other, we have to communicate well. Thank you very much, and see you. Thank you.
Hello and good morning in this beautiful country. I'm Faisal Majzoub from Sudan. Thank you very much for hosting. I like this country, I like the conference. People are friendly and kind. I think this will be a great experience. I hope we'll all enjoy it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Victoria. I'm from Switzerland, and I'm president of the Swiss Pharmaceutical Students Association. I really enjoy my time in Kigali so far. It's a really clean city, it's warm. In Switzerland it's currently winter and the people are very kind and motivated here. And I expect at WHS to meet a lot of motivated healthcare students from different countries, engage with them and compare our healthcare systems and our study systems. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Rawan Mustafa. I'm from Sudan. Hello, my name is Rawan Mustafa. I'm from Sudan, and I'm here in Kigali today to attend the World Health Symposium, Student Symposium. And so far, I've enjoyed my stay in Kigali, for it's such a beautiful country, city, and it's so clean, and people here are so kind. And I'm expecting it to be a great symposium, for the preparations are so great and well organized. And thank you.
Next. Hi everyone, Muraho. My name is Jane Zwanege Christelle. I am from Rwanda and I'm a medical student. My expectation in WHSS is to learn more and get more skills and knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Muraho. My name is Kawogo Janvier. I'm the chairperson of this conference. I would like to welcome you to Rwanda and to this exciting 7th World Healthcare Student Symposium. It is a nice experience. Come, learn, network. You can follow us on our Twitter handle at WHSS 2017 or on our Facebook 7th World Healthcare Student Symposium. It is great privilege to welcome you all to this conference and have fun. It's happening. Yeah, please follow us on live streaming. If you're not here, please make sure you follow us on our YouTube. Hey!
Stand back? Oh, okay, sure. So I can start. Hi, ahoy. My name is Michal. I'm from Slovakia. Hi, ahoy. My name is Michael. I'm from Slovakia. I really like Rwanda so far. The country is really clean. I didn't expect that, so I'm really like, I like it so much in here. About the symposium, I'm really looking forward to it because I'm dental medicine student. So I really look forward to hear something about the inter-cooperation between medical students, pharmaceutical students, dental medicine students. So that's it.
Hi, ahoy. My name is Alice. I'm from Slovakia. Should I? Once again, because I. Hi, ahoy. My name is Alice. I'm from Slovakia. When I first came to Rwanda, I was amazed by this beautiful African country. I visited many African countries, but I really fell in love with Rwanda, how beautiful and clean country it is. And my expectations about the Congress or symposium are that I get to know more people from all around the world which are interested in healthcare as I am, and I get to know another culture, and that's it.
The next.
Hello, ahoy. My name is Frederick. I do come from Slovakia, and when I arrived to the Rwanda, I was really surprised that it's so clean and nice country, because we came 1 week ago and we traveled around. And you have beautiful landscapes and beautiful country around, and very, very friendly and nice people. My expectations from a conference is to meet new people who are also interested in healthcare as me, and to spend a nice week here.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Charu and I'm representing India at the WHSS 2017. I'm actually very much surprised when I landed in Rwanda, in Kigali, that the airport is so clean. The city is incredibly clean and the people are extremely warm and affectionate. The entire organizing committee is taking such great care of us, including the hospitality. My expectations from the World Healthcare Student Symposium is the fact that I want to meet new leaders, I want to meet new people, make some better networks, and know what is actually happening all around the world regarding a multidisciplinary approach to healthcare, and improve the holistic approach towards the betterment of the humanity. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful.
Okay, so hello everyone. Okay. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Leonor Soares and I came from Portugal. I'm the European Pharmaceutical Students Association representative, and I would like to welcome you to the WHSS in Kigali, Rwanda. So as soon as I arrived to Rwanda, especially in Kigali, I found everyone extremely welcome and really kind. Everyone is treating us so well. The organizing committee so far has been doing an amazing job. I had the chance to do a safari in Rwanda and it was just amazing. We have beautiful landscapes and beautiful natural wildlife. So far I'm really enjoying the country and the city. Regarding WHSS, as you know, WHSS started in 2005. And this was a joint collaboration between pharmaceutical students and medical students. So far we have gathered lots of partner organizations. We have veterinary students here, dentistry students, and so on. So I really hope that I will be able to meet lots of people that are also interested in healthcare as I am. And I also hope that we'll be able to reach outcomes regarding interprofessional collaboration, because we are the future of healthcare. So it's really important that we start discussing these matters now that we are students.
Thank you.
Okay.
They are places of convenience. As you move out then to the left, you find other halls where we shall be having other parasessions in the afternoon. And in a moment we shall tell you
can we get everyone to go back to their seats, please, so that we can prepare for the next session? So hello once again. So let's prepare ourselves for the next session that will be led by our former IPSF president, now pharmacist. So let's welcome our very own Mr. Israel Vime.
I don't like to be sitting between your lunch. Before your lunch, I hope you charged enough for the time we are going to spend here. And I hope we will have an interesting discussion as much as we had earlier this morning in this room. I would like to invite the panelists who will join me in a conversation on technology and innovation in general, and how that could tap into achieving the SDGs. Please welcome Mr. Joshua Okello, co-founder and CEO of Winsenga from Uganda. Please also welcome Mr. Joseph Ndagijimana, who works for Zipline International in customer success. Please welcome Professor Erika Frank of NextGenU. And last but not least, stepping in for Tracy McNeil, we have Dr. Singa Muhoza Patrick. Giving brief introduction about each of our panelists. I know you could read more in the booklet that you have with you. Stepping in for Tracy McNeil, who is the CEO of Babil Rwanda, we have Dr. Singa Muhoza Patrick, who is a medical doctor with 10 years of hands-on general medicine practice in different district hospitals in Rwanda and hospital administration. He has experience working for government as well as international organizations in the field of public health and research. He has extensive experience working in the field of digital healthcare for different startups, and he's the medical director for Babylon Rwanda, a company which is specialized in digital healthcare. He helped to start here in Rwanda. Then we have Joshua Okello from Uganda. He's the co-founder and CEO of Winsenga. Winsenga's vision is to make every pregnancy and childbirth safe and magical through integrated mobile technologies that empower medical personnel to deliver standard prenatal and labor management to expectant mothers. Joseph Ndagijimana works on the Rwanda implementation team at Zipline International, where he is focused on customer success. He holds a master's degree in global health delivery from the University of Global Health Equity and a bachelor degree in pharmacy from the National University of Rwanda. And last we have Professor Erika Frank, an MD, MPH, the Canada Research Chair in Preventive Medicine and Population Health at the University of British Columbia, and the founder and president of NextGenU, now used in over 190 countries as the world's first free university. So to get started this panel, we would like first to give to Dr. Frank 5 minutes to talk about NextGenU for us to get to understand what it's about so that we could dive into this conversation. Thank you. Welcome.
So that's on, and perhaps my slides could be brought up? Super. So I'm here to tell you about what is, in essence, the world's first free university. And my hope is that you all will leave here as ambassadors, taking this tool back to your institutions. I will be, at the end, I will give you an opportunity to have a letter to take back to your deans and to talk to them about this. So I hope that you will take away from this perhaps a free degree for yourselves and for your colleagues. So let me tell you a little about NextGenU and its findings. Next slide, please. So this is the letter, and there will be again the QR code and the tiny URL. That will come up for you again at the end, but let me talk to you about how NextGenU has happened. Go ahead. So the purpose of NextGenU is to fulfill the Kampala Declaration. WHO has decided that we need revised numbers, as many as 40 million more health providers by 2035. And it's clear that we can't achieve this just by building more bricks and mortar schools, that we need to use information and communication technologies to be able to scale. Go back. Thank you. So yes, so this, of course, is the reason why, that there's this strong relationship between the number of healthcare workers and health outcomes. And as you can see on the next slide, there also is a real opportunity. On the next slide, yes? Now, because, of course, of hugely increased internet access. Go ahead. So this is our homepage. Go ahead. And we're being used now actually in over 200 countries, more countries than there are even member states in WHO. But we don't have enough penetration. We only have about 5,000 students registered. We want to have 5 million students registered. This is what this kind of scalable education can achieve. We're available through the magic of Google Translate in 103 countries. Not perfect translations, but helpful for you and for many of your colleagues for whom English might not be a first language. And these are some characteristics of NextGenU. I just want to pause on this for a moment. So on the left, you can see characteristics that we share with traditional universities. The one that most people really care about is the fact that we're for credit. Next to it, you'll see characteristics that we share with MOOCs, with massive open online courses. And the one that people care about most usually on this is that we're for free and limitlessly scalable. But there's some characteristics that are unique or highly unusual that belong to NextGenU as well. We are uniquely for credit for free. And we've been at this since I founded NextGenU in 2001. We're also competency-based. That's useful for you to know about. We are financially efficient. We have an endowment, which means that we are here to stay, and we'll be able to provide these kinds of services for decades to come. And we are also have tested efficacy, and I'll show you that in a moment. These are some of our founding collaborators and funders, organizations that some of which are probably quite familiar to you. There's one organization, though, that's a new partner for us that I wanted to point out, if you can go to the next slide. The Global Association of Student and Novice Nurses, and their president and founder, Paisley Simonuk, is here. Paisley, you want to just stand and say hello? If there are any nurses here, student nurses who would like to become part of that global organization, on the next slide, you could talk to Paisley later on. Can you show that next slide? Oh, that slide disappeared. Well, you now know who Paisley is, so that's good. So this is how we create our courses. We take existing high-quality competencies, and we pair them with existing learning objects from one of 4 sources: universities, specialty societies, peer-reviewed journals, and governments. And then for the skills-based competencies, we create mentored activities and peer activities. And then we take all of these competencies, next slide, and put them into modules. And then we'll sort of just breeze through these next slides. Here are some examples of what some of these courses look like. So you could go to the next slide. So this is our first course, Emergency Medicine for Senior Medical Students. This is a typical collaboration for us between a university. We always have a university as a co-sponsor, but then we also have specialty societies, like in this case, the International Federation of Emergency Medicine and the Society of Academic Emergency Medicine are our partners on this. If we can go quickly through these next few slides, the next one is environmental health. This is the core course, one of the core courses for the master's degree in public health, which I'll tell you about in a moment, and I'll show you data on these 2 in a second. And then we have some courses that may not be available at your universities that might be of interest to you, that you can either take as an individual or bring to your university and have them offer you mentorship on it. Things like war in health, or in the next slide, climate change in health. This obviously is one that I particularly care about. This is a course that I created. And you'll see on the next slide, with community-oriented primary care. Next slide, please. Thank you. And the one after that as well. So you can see, if you can go to the next slide, how the courses are structured. On the left, you get access to the modules, basic information in the center there, including who all the affiliations are. And then there are peer activities, mentored activities, RSS feeds, chat rooms that are on the right side. So it's a very rich and interactive program. Not just web-based knowledge transfer, but also with peer interaction and mentored interaction. So I want to show you quickly these 5 areas that we concentrate on. The pre-health sciences training is a place where all of you might be able to contribute. We are now creating the trainings for the first 2 years of health sciences: biology, math, chemistry, physics. That piece is now growing. The second piece I want to show you briefly is Med School in a Box, on the next slide. On the next slide, please. Thank you. So we have both preclinical courses, as you can see here, and then on the next slide, we have clinical courses, the last 2 years of medical school. These pieces are not full courses yet. These are just a list of all of the learning objects that one needs to read through and study to create a competency-based education in medicine. So these are pieces that could supplement your education. On the next slide, you can see our 2 crowning glories, I think, our preventive medicine residency and the world's first free degree, a master's degree in public health. So these organizations are some of the leading organizations in the world in these disciplines. Preventive medicine exists only in the United States and Canada as a discipline, but the American College of Preventive Medicine is very eager to spread this discipline around the world. So if any of you are medical students and you are interested in thinking about preventive medicine and public health for your careers, I would love to talk with you about how that might work. And I will be here for the whole conference till Saturday, including at the hackathons this afternoon, if folks want to follow up. Let me just show you briefly on the next slide about the MPH. So we have both core courses in public health. These are many are already done, and the rest will all be done by the end of next month. And if you want to know more, there's that tiny URL and that QR code that can tell you more about it. And then we have, as I mentioned, remarkable electives too. I know that there's a great need for research methods courses, for example, and for knowledge translation courses. And those individual courses are available to you and your colleagues as well. And then the last piece of resources I wanted to show you, if you would like a health sciences library, Health Sciences Online, hso.info, is a curated collection of 50,000 learning objects that also is available in these 100+ languages of Google Translate. Next slide. So I want to pause here for a second, and nearly done. I just want to show you a little quantitative and qualitative data about us. These are from our first 2 courses. The top 2 rows are the emergency medicine course that I mentioned. These were pilots that we did at the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences in Bethesda, Maryland, and at the University of Missouri. You can see identical knowledge acquisition compared to prior year's training, compared with next-gen U students. And on the bottom 2 lines, you can see a pilot that we did of the core course for the master's degree in public health, environmental health. And again, identical knowledge acquisition. And there we were able to do a flipped classroom, which probably to y'all, given your age cohort, is a familiar term. You're probably digital natives. This would be a classroom where you study outside of the class, and then you come together and interact with your professor for something other than something like this. Not somebody standing up in front of you and lecturing to you, but really taking advantage of the opportunity to interact. And we found that compared to prior years, that students actually had superior satisfaction using Next-Gen U for their knowledge acquisition and their professors for something much more interactive. This was a study that we did on substance use disorder care in Kenya with the African Mental Health Foundation, finding that both primary care providers and community health workers found themselves much more confident and competent, both in terms of their diagnosis and their treatment. And in these last couple slides, if you could go to the next one, just to show you a teeny bit of qualitative feedback. This is from the trainees, from the primary care docs and community health workers, saying that they found this not just intellectually stimulating, but practical training. But we also managed, as you can see in the second quote there, to not just change knowledge and behaviors, but to even change attitudes around something as stigmatized as mental health. So these are powerful interactions through these trainings. The last slide I want to show of qualitative feedback, this is from some of the patients from the program. And they say that after they went through the program that we taught these primary care docs, that they were able to send their kids to school and get them something to eat. And this couple had both been alcoholics, and after they received this intervention, they both stopped drinking, and they had a baby. And when they gave this quote, they were sitting there holding their baby. So this is pretty gratifying. Yeah, thanks. So if your applause signals your interest, this is the way that you can communicate with your deans. I have a brochure as well if you want to go to the next slide. That also, this brochure I've been carrying with me for 4 countries on my back. So I'm delighted to give these out. It also is available at that QR code. And then if we could just pause on that last slide, just in case that's useful as a review for you. So thank you. I hope you will all become Next-Gen U ambassadors. Take these courses yourselves, bring them to your universities, tell your deans, I would like to have a free master's degree in public health. Can we work together? Just yesterday, I met with the deans of nursing, medicine, and public health at Addis Ababa University, and they're going to become, it looks like, partners on this as well. It's not difficult to come to a professor or dean and say, here's a free degree that we can offer to our students. Could we collaborate? So thank you, and I'll look forward to meeting many of you and to making many of you ambassadors for us as well. Thank you.
This mic is not working, but I'll probably try that one. They will fix it from back there. I hope you can hear me even if it's that far. I can hear myself pretty well. So to get started, this is quite exciting. The topic here is about technology and improving healthcare delivery and innovation. I have some cards for discussion points, but I think we will let this free flow as we engage the panelists and we engage the audience. The essential, what I like about this panel is the wide variety of people who are using innovation in healthcare delivery and how could that fast track how we improve care delivery and how we educate students. You know, it comes from an education standard point, delivering medical products, then, you know, and providing care in a different way. And all this is helping us deliver way. So to get started, I would just like to get you to talk briefly about what you do to the people in a minute or two and to get us acquainted with the work that you do. And I hope it can make it easy for us to get to interact as it goes. Okay. And the order will be just as we are seated. Please, Dr. Singer.
Thank you. Let me first say how honored I'm here. I am to be here with you. I'm really glad that, well, I'm glad that Tracy was not available to be here. It gave me the opportunity to sit with you guys here. I work for a company called Babo. Babo is our commercial name, but globally we are known by the name Babylon. We are a startup that started 3 years ago in the UK. We are present in the UK, but in Ireland as well, but now in Rwanda. In Rwanda, we've been here since last year, 2016, in March, but we've actually been licensed to practice here in Rwanda in September. And since September, we've had more than 100,000 online consultations and about 650,000 registrations. This is just to show that there is demand for this kind of service out there. What we do, we started 3 years ago as a digital healthcare company. We came with an application that would allow a patient to have online consultation, video consultation with a doctor, an actual doctor, in the comfort of your home or your office or during your break or whatever. And when we came in Rwanda, of course we brought that up, but the thing was phone penetration in Rwanda was still kind of low, only 75%, and most of that was feature phone, not smartphone. So we had to think outside the box and innovate. So we came up with a feature phone version of what we are doing. So basically you dial in *811, and through a very simple process, we get you to talk to a doctor for a consultation. This is what we've been doing, but now we are considering artificial intelligence. We are bringing in chatbots. I don't know how many of you are familiar with chatbot, but basically chatbot is a computer program that is powered by artificial intelligence. Being powered by artificial intelligence means it can learn. This is one. The more you expose it to different diseases, different conditions, the more it learns. This is first. It also has a way of interacting with the user in a friendly manner and can recognize any kind of language. For instance, a doctor would say epigastric pain, but this is not what the patient would say. The patient would say abdominal pain or my tummy aches, and chatbot can recognize that kind of language, which we think is actually great. The other thing about chatbot is we're developing chatbot mostly for medical triage. This is not about treating a patient, this is about sorting out and directing the patient to the most appropriate place. And we are considering taking this chatbot to health facilities here in Rwanda, which we think is going to add value to what they're doing as far as medical triage is concerned. The other good thing about chatbot is it's going to be linked to the patient file, so that when the patient calls in for the second time, chatbot can refer to a previous conversation the patient had with the doctor and be like, did you decrease your intake of aspirin since you are having epigastric pain, which is great as well. And as new development, if you allow me, one of the issues we've been having is access to medication and access to lab. The patient have been complaining, they say, your service is great, they actually been ranking us 4 stars, 5 stars, but what about medication, what about lab? And they felt like it was too much to ask them to go and pay that out of their pocket. So we've been having conversations with the government, the Ministry of Health mostly, and the RSSB, and I'm very proud to say that we've actually signed an MOU with the Ministry of Health to bring chatbot to health facilities, and we've signed a contract with RAMA, which is the insurance scheme for public servants mostly, to start treating their patient, and an MOU with Mutuelle de Santé. So this is what we do.
Hello. Can you? Oh yeah, it finally works. My name is Joshua. I'm very honored to be here. I was telling someone just a few minutes ago that every single time I come to Rwanda, I am jealous. I think of all the good things that are happening here that are not happening back home in Uganda. But anyway, we started Winsenga because of the difficulty in accessing medical devices. If you're pregnant, and Uganda has one of the highest fertility rates in the world, if you're pregnant, chances are you're going to go to a clinic that has a nurse who doesn't have the tools to help, to carry out better or proper antenatal care. When you go to deliver, most likely she's using a 200-year-old technology to try to monitor your labor. So we thought, what if we used what she might already have, which is her phone, and then attach it to something that is not as expensive, and she can buy it, or her clinic can buy it even on higher purchase. And that's how Winsenga began as a company. So Winsenga as a product, basically smartphone that the midwife has. You have a fetal Doppler for a start. That's where we're starting now. You plug the two together, and the midwife gets better audio. We're able to analyze some of the sound on the phone, so we can detect microsecond changes in the baby's heart rate. On top of this, we know medical records are really important. In Uganda, we call it Chitabo. Chitabo means book, for those who don't speak Bantu languages. So basically, you'd have this book every single time you go for ANC. The midwife has to fill in a bunch of details, gives you the book to go back with. And we know that in Africa, we really don't know how to keep records. So on top of doing all these things, the midwife is able to take a photo of you, she'll keep records, and the good news about this is that this gets stored in the cloud, which means that if you cannot go to the health center in Kigali, and I don't know another place in Kigali, outside of Kigali, another place that's far from Kigali? Chisenyi. If you go to Chisenyi, and for some reason you can't come for ANC here, or you want to deliver in Chisenyi, it's a matter of your doctor downloading the app, and he's able to monitor. If you've used our platform before, he'll be able to see two things: your ANC history, but also will be able to see your labor. Pinpoint every single recording that was taken during your labor. He'll be able to see this history, and that's much better care. And as medical professionals, I think the most important thing is information. If you have good information, you can provide much better care. We started out as that. That's what we wanted to do. But we are now pivoting to do, basically build medical products and medical technology for the rest of the world. Sort of markets that it's funny, I'm looking at a Philips microphone. So the sort of markets that companies, bigger companies, it doesn't make business sense for them to go, but we're already on ground. So we are talking Uganda, we are talking Rwanda, hopefully soon. We're already starting something in Chile. We have something we want to do in Peru. So these small markets where we can really, for a small cost, we can have really big impact. In Uganda right now, we're in 2 districts. Our midwives see about 90 patients every month, which is not bad considering that we only started the commercial version of this around May this year. So that's what we do with Winsenga. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Joseph. I work for Zipline International. Zipline is a logistic and technology company that designs, manufactures, and operates autonomous aircrafts that many call drones. So we offer an instant delivery service for the purpose of solving challenges in the last mile logistics. So in 2016, we had partnerships with the government of Rwanda, the Ministry of ICT, and the Ministry of Health to start the world's first national scale drone delivery service. Now we are operating in 12 hospitals, delivering medical products, and soon to expand to other medical products. So my role at Zipline is to make sure that our system is integrated in the existing healthcare system, and to make sure that the partnerships that we have with the government, with like various entities, are successful. As Israel told you a little bit, I was trained as a pharmacist and did a master's degree in global health delivery. And now I work at Zipline, and I think it has been an opportunity for me to combine my background in the supply chain, my passion for technologies, and my background in global health. And I wanted to say I'm really delighted to be here because when I was first invited to be part of this forum, I didn't realize the scale and the diversity of the people who will be participating in the conversations. So I'm glad to be part of this conversation to move the public health forward with technologies. Thank you.
Yes, that's how it works. So when you finish speak, you switch off, I switch on, and we will get going. So the first thing I want to learn from you and to understand is what the enablers of this technology and innovation in general, from an inception to an operation point of view. What are the crucial enablers that need to be there that you think have allowed Zipline to work in Rwanda, Winsenga to work in Uganda, Chile, and Peru, or Babel to work here, or Next and You in Canada, in British Columbia? What are those enablers, and what do you think? As a second question on that is, what is still lacking for more of these mostly technology-based innovation to thrive? And I would like to start with you, and we go that way.
Thank you very much. For us, when we first came in Rwanda, things we considered before we come were things like political stability, of course. We didn't want to bring this much investment in a country that is unstable, and Rwanda came out to be like the right place for us. The other thing was vision of the government. The government of Rwanda seems to be quite good with its vision about putting ICT at the center of every service delivery system, and that was quite good for us as well. And yeah, we are a company that delivers online consultation. Internet connectivity was quite a big parameter we considered to come here. And for me, what is kind of lacking is this kind of forums where innovators in the field of health care can sit and discuss. Actually, I might be developing an app that is going to, let's say, monitor blood sugar. But my friend here has already done that, so I'll just be duplicating if we do not sit somewhere and discuss. And maybe instead of developing the same products, I need to improve on that or fix something has not been considering. So these kind of forums where people could sit and discuss and show what they are doing, for me, we are not yet there, yet. There are also things that are to do with policies. Let me give you an example. For us, for instance, we are providing online consultations, but this is a new product, this is a new system, this is a new way of doing medicine. Obviously, you need people to know about that so that they can use the service. And then there is a policy out there saying you are not allowed to advertise. Then how do people know about me if I cannot talk to them? But those are things that we are talking to the government about, and they're already thinking about that and helping us resolve those kind of small issues. So for me, it's basically about policies and forums, places where people could sit, connect, and network.
Yeah, it's good that you asked that question because I have, as you heard, you come from the UK here. As entrepreneurs, usually have to move or expand, and that expansion always, you end up going to markets that you did not anticipate. Imagine me from Uganda all the way to South America. Difference in all those things, but the enablers are still the same. I just want to add a few, especially from the medical devices perspective. So technology for healthcare can always be hardware or software. Software like online, or you'd have a device like, we build devices. And for devices, at least for Africa, if you're building something here, you need a regulatory framework. I don't know if Rwanda has one. Maybe you can ask the people from RBC. But in terms of certifications, for us in Uganda, what we've had to do is you have to go to China, which makes the value chain quite expensive, or go to Europe, which is expensive to get a CE mark, or maybe go to the US. So that's very important. And then even when you get all these certifications, they're not recognized usually in the market. If the government doesn't have a policy around that or a framework, that's what has stopped us that delayed us in getting onto the market. We've been trying to put this on the market for the last 2 years, but the policies and regulatory framework wasn't ready yet. The second thing, and I think it's very important, is financing. If you're doing hardware, all this costs money. And when you're starting out as a business, and because ultimately I believe even social enterprises have to be sustainable, and going through grants is not sustainable for a long time. The grants only give you what in the startup world we call runway. They give you basically, if I could use the analogy of flying, grants only give you, and all these prizes only give you the money to taxi and take off, and the moment you're now trying to go up, that's when you need the real money, especially if you're doing hardware. And the third one is, he alluded to it, which is collaboration. It's not possible for us to, as people as entrepreneurs or people who work in healthcare and technology, to work in silos. First of all, it's not even effective. Like you said, you're going to duplicate what someone else has done, and yet there are synergies that could be found, and you make a much, much better product.
Yeah, thank you. There are many things that made possible for Zipline to operate in Rwanda. I'll just cite 3 that are important. The first one is the environment. So when we first approached Rwanda, His Excellency had like this very ambitious vision of having every Rwandan being within 45 minutes of every medical product that they could ever need. So that was very ambitious, and at first we weren't ready to like take on that much, so we started with medical products. But that was also very encouraging for us, and in line with that, we had a good collaboration with internal partners in Rwanda, including the Minister of Health and RBC, that made all the details regarding the integration of our system in the healthcare system of Rwanda. We had the Ministry of ICT, who has this vision of, very progressive vision of making Rwanda a very advanced country in terms of technology. And we had the regulatory agency, the Rwanda Civil Aviation Authority, that made like a bold move of allowing the unmanned aerial vehicles to operate in the airspace of Rwanda. That is something many governments were still hesitant to do. So those partners have been the main enablers of our technology. And of course, we have the team, the Zipline team, both in Rwanda and the United States, that believed in this vision and were working hard to make this happen. So currently we have a very various group of people that work as engineers, as that fulfill orders and talk with the government. And right now we are still looking for more people. I know a lot of people in the audience might be interested in working with Zipline delivery services. So we are still looking for like motivated people who would like to work with us, both in Rwanda, in Tanzania, where we are soon starting our operations, and in other countries where we might not be right now. So if you're interested, please go to our website, flyzipline.com, and apply. And even if we're not in your country right now, we will be in the near future. That's something that we think will even take us further than this. Thank you.
So this is a lovely question. I characterize the three components, I think, that were necessary to get NextGenU off the ground and that I think are important for any innovation. Open-mindedness, persistence, and generosity. And I'll tackle each of these just for a moment. The open-mindedness piece, keeping your eyes open for missed opportunities. This is the second field that I've innovated. The first one was on the relationship between healthcare providers' personal health practices and our patient counseling practices. I've shown with my research that there's a strong and consistent link between them. And the way that I thought of that idea was when I was studying for my preventive medicine boards, and I was reading about the so-called Physicians' Health Study, a very important study done in the United States of physicians. But it was all men physicians, and nobody bothered to call it the Men Physicians' Health Study. And they also didn't take advantage of the fact that these were docs. They just used them as a population to study without thinking about their healthcare provider. And when I read about this and thought about it for a moment, it was really a light bulb moment that we needed to study the other docs, women docs, and we needed to look at us as a vector to patients. This was from my experience as a specialist in preventive medicine. So that really sort of hit me with great force when I thought of that, and I realized that's a major part of what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. Same thing happened with creating NextGenU. I was reading an article in the magazine Newsweek in 2001 about how great online education was, and I had just not long ago finished my residency at Yale, and as some of you may know, there's a big Harvard-Yale competition. There was this quote from a doc from Harvard who said, well, that's all fine for other people's disciplines, but nobody would want to go to to see a doctor who trained online, and that didn't make any sense to me. People were talking about what a strong notion this was, and why wouldn't we try it? So that also was a light bulb moment for me. So being open to these notions and realizing when they hit you, this matters. I've come across something really important that no one else has done. Persistence is also critical too. I thought of NextGenU in 2001. I was told along the way that it was impossible and even illegal, and I knew that it was neither. And so persisting with it and also generating data to show that, yes, your notion is solid so that you can convince others to participate. And then generosity. NextGenU exists because people offer their learning objects freely online, and because they volunteer to be course creators, because it's useful for them professionally and because they know it's useful for the world. So in terms of what you need to bring, open-mindedness, persistence, and generosity, and in terms of what's still needed, much like what y'all talked about, we need more noise. I hope and believe that when we launch the MPH, the world's first free degree, in a few months, that we'll get quite a bit of noise, but that's of course part of the reason why we're here, is to let people know that this tool exists. So making enough noise is an important part, and there's a lot of other people making noise too, so that's often a gap to overcome.
Thank you so much. Before I open it up to the public, I would like to kind of poll the people here. Who among you, just raise your hand, think what they are doing is important for healthcare? Just raise your hand. Cool. Who among you think these innovations are dangerous for healthcare professionals, like they're disrupting the profession? Who is trying to replace all doctors? You know, they're doing chatbots with artificial intelligence, and that means no doctors. Whatever you are studying doesn't make any sense. Who thinks these are a danger to the healthcare profession? Okay, it's a bit few. So I would like us to talk a bit about disruption versus innovation and the gaps that we have in healthcare. And how do you approach this thing? You know, when you go to artificial intelligence, and how do you link? We know machine learning, and it learns as it's exposed, and then the humanity side of it. This thing are going crazy. Every week it's taking on another level. How do you approach this? How do you talk about disruption versus innovation? And do you think you are disrupting, or do you think you are innovating? And at which point do you what do you think about when you are called disruptors? And for example, for Zipline in Rwanda, they are not so popular for health professionals who think, no, it's too expensive, or they are taking jobs from healthcare professionals and things like that. What's your thoughts on it?
Thank you very much. This is a very good question indeed. As of us at Babo, what we're trying to do, we are not trying to replace doctors. We think that there will always be a need for doctors out there. What we're doing with chatbot is we actually developing a doctor's brain, so to speak, and then we basically trying to do what Google did with general information and do that for healthcare information. By doing so, we believe we're going to give more time to the doctors to do what they are best at, which is caring for patients, which is, artificial intelligence will never pat a patient on the back and be like, we hungry, you'll be good. You know what I mean? That human part of it will always lack. We'll still need doctors for that. But would like to relieve, a doctor is a human being. A doctor can forget. And we've actually done a survey and showed that chatbot doing artificial medical triage was about 90% accurate. And the more you expose it to condition, the more it learns and the more it perfects itself. But as for the doctor doing medical triage, the doctor would be like 70 to 75% accurate. Not saying that he's not good enough. He's a human, he can forget. He can have feelings. A machine does not have feelings. It's just calculate, it's just algorithm. But at the end of the day, you still need doctors. A machine will not have an IV line. A machine will not do, at least not yet, have a C-section. But at least a machine can help. I mean, you have patients, let's say, in the Rwandan health system, the way it's built, that pyramid from down to up, starting with health posts and health centers and having district hospital and so on. You find that some patients, they delay referrals at the health center level, and which a condition that was a $10 condition ends up after a month being a $1,000 condition when it gets to the district hospital, and by the time it gets there, it's already too late for the patient. So we're trying to treat as many patients as possible down of the pyramid at primary care level, but not replacing the doctors. We will not do that.
Maybe Winsenga and others are not really disrupting the profession, but talk also about getting health professionals on board. They are the most antagonists to the innovations, to the things that are new. So how do you also get them on board? If you can talk on it, do you want to say something, and then we can hear from?
Yeah, it is true. When we started, health professionals were like the first one to kind of oppose this idea. I don't know, maybe they felt like we were kind of replacing them or making what they do obsolete. But let me give you an example. What we are doing, we are not, for instance, taking out their jobs. We, at Babo, as of now, we are employing 16 doctors, but we are only employing them part-time because they have jobs in private health facilities, in public institutions, and they only come to us, do some shift, and go back there. So this is first. Secondly, the way doctors are trained at university, they are trained, I think it was Professor, I don't remember, the honorable professor who was here before. He said that the way they train students, it's like we making them so important, we're telling them that they are so smart, and so on, and they become difficult at some point to new technology, to innovation, and so on. So doctors have proven to be quite conservative when it comes to innovation and technology and so on. But they're getting it now, because we are already in agreement with some hospitals that have agreed that we could refer patients to them. Some have agreed that we could serve as a triage system for them and send the patient to them later on. One of the difficulties has been, you know, the way they are trained, when a patient comes in, you have to do physical examination from toe to hair. You actually undress the patient. But how many of us doctors actually do that? A patient comes in with simple flu and you like, undress yourself. He'll think you're crazy. So we are doing that, and one thing that has been difficult is getting a doctor trying to provide comfort over a phone call is not quite easy. So they needed some kind of training, and now they are quite good at this. Yeah, that's what I say.
Well, we all have asked to change, and doctors are not any different. What I've found has worked for us with Winsenga, and if you notice, I do not have a medical background, but yet we have all these doctors who work for us, and you know, the midwives use our products. Value. If you can explain value to a medical professional in a language that they understand, it will break down the barriers. That's what has worked for us for all these years. 99% of midwives who have interacted with our product end up taking it. So it's just explaining value proposition in ways that they understand.
Yeah, thank you. I want to talk a little bit about disruption, as you said, but in a positive way. So for Zipline, it's important that people who work at the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, and the laboratory technicians have this shift in the mentality of saying, I can have the best product that I can have, or I can treat the patient in the best way I can. Because sometimes, especially in rural and middle-income countries, it's easy to get comfortable and get used to having less than what you deserve, and settle for less. And if the new technologies, whether it's a drone delivery service or it's like a diagnosis, artificial intelligence, they need, what immerses them is people who think everything they need to treat this patient is possible, even if they are not seeing it there. So we would like to have a disruption in the mentality of people, the healthcare professionals, but that is geared towards treating the patients in the best possible way. And in terms of what's happening at the hospitals in the operations, of course, it's important to integrate as seamlessly as possible. For example, for Zipline, we don't ask the hospitals to develop any infrastructures because the planes don't land at the hospital. So all they have to do is to design a place where they will receive the medical products delivered. And we try to whether if they are supposed to use an internet form, we try to give them alternatives. Babylon mentioned how the internet, the connectivity coverage in the country wasn't as great when they started. So you always have to find solutions to that. So now when you don't have internet, Zipline has an option for using a regular phone call or an SMS to order your products. So the integration is important, but I just want us to see a disruption, not always in a negative way, but also in a positive and progressist way. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think I think NextGenU is clearly disruptive, but we are filling the prescription that WHO put out. That it's clear that we have to have leapfrogging, hugely scalable technologies to be able to fulfill this need for tens of millions more health providers. It's the only way that that can happen. But there is, of course, an additional obligation. We're not talking about disruption in art, where any disruption is thought-provoking and positive. We're talking about disruption in something where we know an awful lot about what works well, and we have an obligation to ensure that we do something better than that. So I think, to me, as a serious academician and as a Canada Research Chair in Preventive Medicine and Population Health, that the way to enable these positive disruptions is to test and show that it's better. And I think that even with that, though, as I talked about with NextGenU, it's not just about attitudes and behaviors, it's not just about knowledge and behaviors, it's also about attitudes. And I think that folks in your cohort, or people like me who are older perhaps than some of you, that either weren't raised as digital natives or have brought themselves to become more of a digital native, that it's incumbent upon us, it's our responsibility to tell people who reject these kinds of innovations simply because of their lack of familiarity, and frankly, simply because of the individual's lack of neuroplasticity. It's our job to say, okay, these are the criteria that you've said we need to have to demonstrate that this is worth doing. We've demonstrated our efficacy. Do it already.
And thank you so much. I wonder if medical councils and pharmacy councils could accredit professionals who studied through your platform, but that's a challenge, and we need to definitely leapfrog these huge numbers and demand that is there. So I still had questions on education, on health professionals and the status quo, on data, on where do they store their data, how do they use it, how is it used, why can they link it, or are there possibilities to link it? But they can address that, and I know some questions would be on that from the audience. So I will take 3 questions, and then we get to hear from them. And one thing, we will also allow, if people want to ask the question in French, it's very possible. Si vous avez une question en français, vous serez libre de la demander en français. Je pourrais mettre ça en anglais pour vous et peut-être aussi translate la réponse en anglais, en français pour que ça soit plus facile. So the first question, this gentleman here raised his hand first. If someone can do that. The issue is the microphone people are having their own preferences, but I would like to please stand up. You know what I'm talking about, yes. And then the second question, it has to be a lady. She's already there, she's standing up, and then we will take the third in front there. So go ahead. It's the person who was standing up though. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'll go by the names of Mick Ndaishimie. I'm a medical student.
Please keep your question to 1 minute if you can.
Yes.
Less than 1 minute. Yeah.
My question goes to Dr. Singer about Babil. We do know that every medical or therapeutic action always require history taking and physical examination. And I was wondering, those digital services you are providing, maybe if someone have got like pneumonia and need inspection, auscultation, percussion, what you are going to do. And if other medical services, including surgical operation and C-sections, can be digitalized. Thank you very much. You can have the answer.
The guy right in behind, and then we go to the lady. Quickly, 30 seconds.
Thank you, the panelists and the audience. I'm Julius Mugaga. I'm a teaching assistant and a research fellow, junior research fellow, Makerere University Biomedical Engineering. My question to the panelists is, what approaches do they have to replicate strategies that have been used by these high-profile companies like Johnson & Johnson, Philips, and GE in terms of picking student projects? Because as we are talking, we are addressing students. The majority of the people here are students, and they have their products, but they fail to reach market. And these big companies are picking some, but they cannot exhaust. And secondly, they are not close to them like you are. So which strategies are you putting? Because this will position you very well that a good company will win satisfaction if it is providing a lot of services. So if you get these products and then you take them to another level, it will be good. Secondly, I supervise design classes and always see students from ideation stage to prototyping and testing, but then these students do not realize their dream. So if you can pick that project from that stage, then you as an entrepreneur, you will benefit financially, and the student also gets the financial mantle, but still he gets to see his dream come true for saving lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Fatuma. I'm from Congo, family physician. I would like to ask my question in French. I'm not very easy in English, please. Je félicite le docteur Singa et les autres pour leur innovation dans la technologie. Mais à mon avis, je crois que ça a un impact négatif sur la population. Parce que avec l'utilisation de ces machines-là, il y a une réduction d'abord du personnel. Deuxièmement, au lieu que la caisse gonfle, c'est réduit. Qu'est-ce que vous allez me dire? Merci.
So, I think most of the people here can listen, but she said with there is a negative impact with using this technology. With machine, there is a reduced amount of money that health professionals get, and the increase of machine, so they will be able to answer that. I hope it's well translated. Who will go last? In the corner back there. Please go ahead and then take the microphone in the back corner. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was...
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. My question goes to Dr. Singer and another one to Dr. Frank. My first question is, you know, with technology, there is an issue of hackers. And we do know that these big companies like Yahoo, these big companies like Uber, Yahoo, they have been hacked. And another thing is that in this medical profession and health-related profession, one of the things that we give big value is the privacy of the patients. And I'm wondering, what do you think about when, because you mentioned that this information that you gather, they are linked to the patient's file, and what do you think when these hackers, they will get themselves into your systems? And another question I have is for Dr. Frank. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to thank you. All of you are doing amazing job. Thank you. I haven't used your website yet. I didn't know it, but I used another website. And there is an issue that when you get these free courses, even you yourself, even if you are taking them, you kind of wonder, are these courses really good? Are they genuine? Because you never get to see the professor. All you see is the video, and if you don't have the megabytes, you see there's a way they write into notes what they said. So at the end of the time, even if you graduate, even yourself, you're not confident of the knowledge you have gained. So I would like you to say something about that. Thank you.
So please don't give the microphone to anyone else. Those who have them have the last questions. That one goes first, and you there go second. Please let him speak first.
Thanks very much. My name is Chabang Owen from South Africa, the president of SAPSIV. Mine is very simple. I have a simple submission and a very serious critique, particularly on the technology and the healthcare. One of the first thing that makes me question the whole process is, here's, for example, the online consultations. He has justified it to a certain degree, but my greatest concern is where limitations are not mentioned, where challenges are not mentioned. And it is again to a greater extent that how it affects the actual professionals, it was not investigated and it is not mentioned. That's number one. That's number two, sorry. One of the things that has to be mentioned again is particularly on healthcare and technology. Technology is very precious, but it can be subjected to a massive abuse, particularly abusing the professionals in particular. In a way, I'm trying to say the health systems or the health, online consultation in particular. I have a great problem where a patient will probably consult you either through a phone or video call or whatever. Then the next thing, a patient has to go to another level. Don't you think it will undermine the capacity and the potential of another professional if a patient goes to that professional? And we know as a health professional how annoying it is for a patient to come to say, I have osteoarthritis. And while you can clearly see that this is not osteoarthritis. So that's why most professionals, they don't like patient and Google, because patients tend to self-diagnose. They come to you with expectation and conclusion made by Google. So don't you think you are in fact playing a role of a Google there? Because playing a role of Google, generally and otherwise, without underestimating the good work that you do, undermines the professionals. It's to conclude, because I don't want to waste much of the time. When it comes to the online qualification as well, quality can be compromised. It's a good thing. Quality can be compromised. Now, what systems are in place to really assess the quality? Because when quality is compromised, we are not going to go out there and deliver good quality health services to our people. Secondly, to all the online things that are happening there, all of them, I didn't hear any of them mentioning how they will critically respond to poverty. We know, particularly in Africa, that poverty affects the outcomes of health. But there is none amongst yourself who's talking about poverty. For example, online degrees or the consultations online. Even if you use phone calls, what about the grandmothers and the grandfathers who don't have phones, who need the health services? So it's very important. Even the online courses. What the other thing again we also have to question is.
Please conclude.
As I'm concluding, I'm going to summarize just now.
No need to summarize. We understood
Thanks
your
very
point.
much. So what I'm again going to question is, since you say you have some students who are registered, how do they graduate? How do you have confidence to say this is a professional? And if he's a professional, at least you must have confidence to send your own parent or relative to go and consult to that person. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My name is Prosper Hemisibwe. I'm a graduate medical doctor with Makerere University. I would want to commend the panelists for joining the innovation space to deliver quality healthcare. My first goes to Dr. Singer. As a medical practitioner, you say that the chatbot doesn't have feelings, but those of us who work with patients know that having feelings, having empathy for a patient is important to deliver good quality care. So there's that limitation that I think you need to acknowledge and see how you can work with that. I also want to commend Mr. Okello from my country. Glad to see you from Wisenga. I'm from MSCAN. MSCAN, we're in a similar space. We're building low-cost ultrasound devices for pregnant mothers in resource-scarce settings. The challenge with innovation and disruption happens when you, as an ICT person, clearly you confess not having a medical background. You develop this in your laboratory or over the weekend, you're working on it. You're not involving the stakeholders in this disruption. So when you come out fully with an innovation that is maybe doing what they could have done, because they have not been a part of the process, then you have all this antagonism. So my challenge is, how are you developing one and making your product better, but making sure that it also, you work along with the end users and develop with them along the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I will let the panelists answer the questions, but there is, on the confusion about self-care and what kind of information does the patient need to have. The European Union has developed a really extensive policy on self-care, on how patient can use devices and technology and how that integrates in the public care, but that can be an over lunch or over dinner conversation at some point. And on the data question, I wanted to also include what I had planned on data. There is an issue of inexistent, incomplete, or inaccessible data. I know there is a bunch of complexity when it comes to data that you generate, but I want to ask you, how can we collaborate? While you answer this question, how can we collaborate to also make this data serve for the best, so that we don't replicate the data that Babylon gets, to not make another person go take the same data? How do we establish this collaboration among us stakeholders to get to work on that? Other than that, the fire was at you.
Thank you. As I see, I'm quite famous here, so I'll jump in first. the first one to ask the question, it was about physical examination and limitation of the technology. Let me first state that there is no perfect technology. There is no perfect solution when it comes to healthcare. And obviously, our technology has got limitations. We are not allowed to deal with just any disease, any condition. We have a particular, well-limited package we are able to deliver, and that has been provided to us by the Ministry of Health. So to answer your question, I will not dare deal with appendicitis or peritonitis or something that serious over a phone call. What I would do, I would triage this and send the patient to the nearest health facility and have the patient with medical advice while he's going there and call the place where I'm sending the patient so that they get prepared for him. So obviously, there are limitations. We are not trying to replace a healthcare system that is already there, that has been built the way it is for some reasons. We're just filling in the gaps. And the other thing is, patients are already self-diagnosing. We doctors might be against that, but they are doing that. So we need to find a way of providing safeguarding and leading the patient through that process. But they are doing that. The other thing I would like to state is doctors are already diagnosing and prescribing over the phone. They are doing it unofficially, but we all have a cousin that calls us during the night, I'm having fever, what should I do? And we do it already. What we're doing at Babo is we're providing some safeguarding, we're providing some security measures, and providing quality. And this brings me to the next question that was about quality of consultation. How do we assess that? At Babo, we have a way of doing that is, first of all, after a call, a patient is sent a message asking him to rate the service. This is one part of it. So the patient will be like, I'm giving this conversation or this consultation a 1 star, 2 star, 4, 5, and state the reasons. This is one part. And the other way of doing that is we have what we call audit. Because our consultations are basically online, and our platform allows us to save them. And I can, as the medical director, I can go through those consultations, listen to them, and rate. And then thereafter talk to the medical professional who did the consultation if I feel like something was missing. So this is about quality. And the other aspect of quality is we've been accredited by the Ministry of Health. That means they come on a regular basis and assess us. And our license would be at risk if we do not provide quality care. So these are the 3 basic way of assuring that we're providing the best care possible over a phone call, given the limitations we have. The other question was about, it was, I think, Dr. Fatuma. Impact of this kind of technology, this kind of... merci, Dr. Fatuma. La question était vraiment intéressante à propos de l'impact que ce genre de technologie pourrait avoir du point de vue du personnel de santé et du point de vue, je crois, du revenu que vous pensez que nous prenons de leur poche, n'est-ce pas? Si j'ai bien compris la question. Tout d'abord, je voudrais mettre les choses dans leur contexte. La population générale, la population globale est en train de croître. Nous faisons des efforts pour suivre ce mouvement-là en formant beaucoup de médecins. Mais il faut que nous nous rendions compte que nous ne pourrons jamais matcher les deux.
le nombre de docteurs qui viennent de l'école et le nombre et l'accroissement de la population, c'est très difficile de matcher les deux. Il y aura toujours plus de personnes que nous formerons de médecins. Ce que nous faisons, c'est que nous essayons de trouver une façon qui n'est peut-être pas parfaite, mais une façon pour réduire cette how do you call discrepancy? Cette disproportion entre le nombre de patients qu'il y a et le nombre de médecins qu'il y a. Et je pense qu'à la longue, parce que la technologie avance et si nous ne l'embrassons pas maintenant, elle va nous laisser, elle va nous dépasser. Je pense qu'à un moment donné, même le fait de dire qu'il y a trop de médecins, trop de patients pour un médecin, à un moment donné, avec la technologie, ça sera un faux problème. Parce que le peu de médecins que nous aurons, nous les aurions utilisés de la meilleure façon qui soit, en leur donnant les meilleurs outils possibles. Ça m'amène à l'autre aspect de votre question, c'est financièrement, les conséquences financièrement du point de vue des médecins. D'abord, comme je l'ai dit, notre technologie ne remplace pas le médecin. Notre technologie est un outil que nous donnons au médecin pour lui faciliter la vie, de façon que ce médecin ait plus de temps pour faire ce qu'il doit faire. C'est un peu comme si on lui donnait un livre médical qu'il met dans sa poche et qui se promène avec dans son tour de salle. Mais nous ne remplaçons pas le médecin. Ça, c'est un. Et de deux, nous ne recrutons pas les médecins du gouvernement pour les emmener chez nous. Ils restent là-bas, nous les emmenons, nous les formons, ils travaillent avec nous et ils retournent pratiquer chez eux. Troisièmement, vous pouvez avoir l'impression que nous prenons de l'argent, parce que tous ces patients devaient aller dans un hôpital, donc, puisqu'ils n'y vont pas, il y a un manque à gagner financièrement. Mais je voudrais que nous revenions à l'éthique. Ce que nous devons nous battre pour les avantages du patient. D'abord, ensuite les avantages du médecin après. Qu'est-ce qui est l'avantage pour le patient ici? C'est que sa pathologie qui était simple, nous avons la possibilité de la soigner au niveau le plus bas pendant qu'elle était encore simple, avant qu'elle ne s'aggrave. Et à la fin, ça devient moins cher pour le gouvernement, ça devient moins cher quand vous le regardez globalement, parce que nous aurions prévenu, nous aurions traité à temps. Donc, ce que vous voyez comme un manque à gagner, vous, dans votre bureau de consultation, pour le système en entier, en réalité, nous avons aidé à save money. Nous avons aidé à économiser votre argent. Thank you. I think there was a question about chatbots not having empathy. I agree with you. Chatbot is a computer program, and as such, we do our best so that chatbot can interact with the client or the patient in a most human way. But at the end of the day, it's still a computer program. And remember, we are not replacing a doctor. The doctor is still in his office. We're just giving him the right tools to use. This would be my answer. Thank you.
Since the person who asked about empathy also asked me about building medical products. Building medical products when you don't involve the users. First of all, it's impossible to build any medical device or any medical product for that matter without involving users. It just doesn't make sense. That's one. Well, everything has to be interdisciplinary. As a technology person, and he knows because I've met him before, I cannot build something without a doctor. You as a doctor cannot build technology without myself. There has to be interdisciplinary interaction. For WinSenga, for example, what we've done from the onset, we work with one of the biggest, what are they called, gynecologists in the country. We have a network of midwives. We just onboarded additional doctors who keep advising on where we need to go in terms of the product. We also need finance because this doesn't work without, I said multidisciplinary, this doesn't work without the business side. Our CMO is Scottish, who is now running our operation in Chile. I'm a technology person. We have someone who does statistics for us. So what I'm trying to drive at is interdisciplinary at the end of the day. I hope that answers your question. The next question I remember from Julius, because I'll tie this in with what he just said, his last question. Julius asked whether how, as startups, we are trying to help other small student projects that are coming out. What we are doing for us is mentorship. I'll give you an example. I don't know if I'm now talking to you directly, but one of the projects that we're working on, for example, is MDEX. There's a group of girls who are trying to make sickle cell diagnosis much easier using a smartphone. They're just students, they have the idea, but we are the technology people, we have the technology. What we've done over the last 3 years is work with them up to a point where their technology now works. And to even go a step further, this is with no pay at all. This is our way as Winsenga of giving back. As a small startup, this is our CSR. We cannot give you money. We cannot give you money we are not big enough to give you grants. But what do we have? We have experience. We have expertise, and that's what we can give you. Another team of girls, again, building something to diagnose bacterial vaginosis. And this team is now in Chile. In fact, she gave a keynote at the last World Health Summit. That's what we can do as startups, up to a point when we have the money to also, give you a grant. I would also love to talk about the question of data as the technology person on the panel. It is true, I think those gentlemen somewhere there, it is true that even companies like Google, HBO, Sony, they get hacked. But there are two things here that you need to consider. When hackers go after data, it is data that is of economic value. Now, patient data, unless you really want to do a smear campaign, is not doesn't attract as many hackers. That said, every person storing data in the cloud has to follow certain guidelines. In fact, all of us, although most African countries don't have an e-health data policy, most of us run off the American standard. You have to be HIPAA compliant. The short of it is that when you're storing data, it has to be non-identifying. So even if someone did hack into your system, there would just be one long 64, imagine 64 alphanumeric strings and then some data, you don't know who it is, which will be of absolutely no use to the hacker. Lastly, I would also like to speak about poverty, that we've not talked about poverty in all our innovations. We know, as Winsenga, when we started out, one of the biggest issues was financing to get an ultrasound, to get basic medical tools. And even at our current price point of $100, we found that it is difficult for some health centers to buy this. Do you know what we did? You innovate around the financing. We are doing higher purchase for some clinics. For some clinics, we are doing a pay. The model is pay to use, not pay to own. I'll give you the product, just pay me every single time you want to use, and a very low price. So that takes care of the poverty aspect of it. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to talk to the question from Julius from Makerere. He asked how those technologies that are being developed are going to benefit the students who oftentimes come up with those ideas and don't get to realize their dreams. And first of all, I want to say I'm glad that students and other people are coming up with those ideas, because that's how we advance as human beings, as society. People keep using critical thinking to solve the problems that are around us. And to address the question specifically, one of the things Zipline is doing to emulate what other big companies have done in terms of integrating the knowledges that is still out there is to create a training institute for people who are interested in drone service technology. That is something that is still underway in development. But I just wanted to say that we acknowledge that that's something important, and we're thinking about doing something about it. Dr. Fatuma talked about how healthcare professionals may end up losing with like all those new technologies that are coming. And so when we started operating, we thought this was going to be beneficial for everyone involved. But the only way to be, we wanted to be sure, I wanted to hear it from the people who are actually using the service. And what we found, we naturally talked to people who are at the hospitals and the nurses and doctors mainly. And not only they gained in terms of the time that they spent treating the patients and in terms of having one less thing to worry about when treating a patient, but they also asked us to like deliver other medical products. At some point, they were using also their critical thinking and say, this is great, but why are you only delivering medical blood products? There are also other things that are needed in the hospitals, and if we can get them instantly, then we would say that you are doing a great service. So what we have realized is people open their horizons and imagine what's going to be possible next when you expose an idea to them, and there is a risk of like them getting ahead of you and thinking where you're like not capable of going right now. But Zipline is planning to expand to other medical products as to address the needs from those medical doctors and nurses as well. And we are doing so in alignment with the government policies of decentralizing the healthcare and making it possible to be reachable as easily as possible. Lastly, I want to talk about data. So Israel talked about how the government institutions are already collecting data from the public health institutions, and then we come in and we have a different set of data. So as I said before, it's important to integrate in the existing system. We're not creating a parallel system that is doing its own thing, but for instance, in medical supply chain, so it's easy to collect information on routine deliveries that the health facilities are making to the central store. But what about those that happen unexpectedly during the in-between periods that no one has predicted? What Zipline is doing is able to avail the data from even all those like deliveries that where it happens in emergency situations and it's not really planned, but so that the public system can go back and say, okay, we have had this kind of demand during the month, but we've also had this sporadic requests that have gone to Zipline that we can incorporate in our planning next time. And at the end of the day, everyone in the supply chain wins because we're able to get, both us and the government are able to get more accurate predictions on the data. Thank you.
Thanks. So to address these questions in order as well, the to the question of how to have healthcare education, health sciences education be more responsive, health sciences education has always been for us, by us. And I think that these kinds of innovations are just a more modern version of it, that it allows us to be able to not just use a printing press to distribute our thoughts, but be able to use electrons instead. So this, and also, the way that we build our educational systems is very much for us, by us. It is volunteer students and professionals who take the time to donate their materials, and then others who take the time to create courses under supervision, getting back to the quality question, of experts and expert organizations. And if you want to see more about that, come to one of the hackathons either today or tomorrow, and I'll show you that it's that there is a clear assembly line that one can do at this point with accumulating the correct information that corresponds to competencies in a much more intellectually rigorous way than the usual way that we say, here's a textbook, go study it, or here's a few articles. This can really be scientifically rigorous and comply with competencies in a way that's never been done before. On the question of whether these kinds of notions replace us, pardonnez-moi pour mon français mauvais, mais j'essaie. Je crois que les ordinateurs pour les programmes d'éducation, ça fait une libération pour les personnels de santé parce que nous pouvons faire les choses que les humains seulement peuvent faire, que les ordinateurs ne peuvent faire pas, le gentilité, le empath. So yes, I think that computers don't need to replace us. It just allows us to do the things that only people can do with other people, answering detailed questions in a directly responsive way, and even more importantly, showing empathy and kindness, which is demonstrated to be important for patient care. And then on the last question over here about whether free is good. I think there is an obligation to, once you've figured out how to do education in an excellent way, or anything in an excellent way for free, and once you've tested it and demonstrated it, I think that's really essential to have data on your efficacy and to allow others to access those data in an anonymized way. Once you've tested that, I think that this prejudice that many of us carry, as I mentioned, I got my training from some of the best places in the United States, which are ridiculously expensive. I think once you've figured out and shown that you're able to achieve a similar or sometimes even a better effect with something that's free, I've been told, NextGenU has been told, oh, you ought to charge people for it because of exactly this prejudice. They won't think it's something good otherwise. And okay, that's fine. If they want to go and pay for an education, in my other life, I'm a professor and have been since I finished my training. And I get that there are lovely things for those of us who have the privilege and ability to be able to access and afford that. That's terrific. But for the 40 million healthcare providers that WHO says that we need to create, that's not going to happen if those people need to pay for their education. So I think that we have to overcome our prejudices that where there are excellent things that are available for free, that we have to demonstrate that they are, and then we have to overcome even our prejudices around their value. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I think this is an interesting conversation. We could go on for hours, but unfortunately, we have to get food. And But I would like to challenge you to get this conversation going on over lunch and over dinner. And this is not, I believe the technologies are not here to convince you that they are good, but it is to ignite some form of starting to talk about these things and to start challenging ourselves on how far can go. He said something in French where the proportion of how the population is growing versus how the medical profession are being trained, medical professionals, and how the solutions are being provided, they can't match, they will never match. So how do we do to fill in those gaps? And I thank you so much for being such interactive. And please, sorry for not taking more questions, and I would like you to ask a round of applause for the panelists. And thank you. And one more last thing is you can't imagine how beautiful you look from here. It's just amazing. Keep having fun and keep having good times here. Give it back to the moderators. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause to the amazing panelists and an amazing combination. Yeah. He decided to give that compliment. He decided to give that compliment. I know he's someone who cannot live without making sigh. Anyway, thank you very much. Really, I like the fact that you explored everything about technology, and yes, most of us here are using some of these apps even without knowing. Some of us are having phones with more than 30 applications and we don't know even how to use them. But it's really interesting how some of these apps can even develop health.
Yes, that's for sure. And I think, of course, it's human nature to always be afraid of change, but let's take advantage of what we have and use it to the best potential.
Talking of innovations, I think you are aware that in this conference, we are going to have a hackathon. And basically, a hackathon is an accelerated innovation where people are presented with healthcare challenges and they come up with solutions. So for people who have already signed up for the hackathon, it's starting this afternoon. We are going to have two types of hackathon. One is going to be education hackathon, spearheaded by NextGenU. She's been there. And another one is going to be a MedTech hackathon spearheaded by CamTech. So for people who want to be part of the hackathon and had not signed, you have not signed up before, as you move out, there are some gentlemen standing on the right-hand side of the, yes, on that side, the right door. So make sure you sign up.
From the back, so that's the gentleman you need to go see.
In the same way, even people who want to sign up for the global health course, and others want to sign up for the multicultural trauma treatment and neonatal. Remember, they are limited places, so if you find the list is already full, bear with us. Okay? I want to add that those who will not be going for those short courses and the hackathon, the following will be your destination after lunch. You are going to have a workshop about migrants' health, which is going to be taking place in Kigali. Kigali is Kigali. It is right next, opposite to this hall. So there's going to be migrants' health. Then mental health is going to be in Kivu. Kivu is Kivu. So write it. You meet the ushers. Ask them where is Kivu if you're interested to attend mental health. Those who are interested in financing in healthcare, it's going to be right here. Those who are interested in leadership in healthcare, it's going to be in Rukari. Rukari. Right? It's up there. So those who are going for the hackathon, it is in Bamboo, second floor. Both hackathons are in Bamboo, second floor. Bamboo is up there where our speakers are having lunch from. So the second floor is made for the hackathon. So those who are going for the global health course, that is in room X. So ask the ushers, they will show you where room X is. Multicultural trauma treatment is going to be in room Z, and neonatal care is going to be in room Y. So please make sure you have where you belong in the afternoon.
Yeah, so maybe to make sure that everyone got it, let's repeat it. So migrants' health, that is in Kigali. mental health in Kivu, financing in healthcare in Akagera, and finally leadership in healthcare that will be in Rukari. So before we go for lunch, we have some announcements to make. Sorry. The RPSF members, they are requested to stay right after the session to meet up with their president, just for a short meeting, just right here in front. So RPSF members, please remember, stay. It's going to be short, I assure you. Second announcement, it goes to the professionals that we have in the house that are looking for accreditation. They're required to join the WHSS offices that are up there. It's called Inyambo, where the offices are. Moving on, the Global Health Courses graduates organized by the Global Health Focus, that is all over Africa. They're requested to meet at 5 p.m. right after the course they'll be having in room X. And finally, this is announcement from Lidwin. She's requesting all the people from the repertory team, please meet her right outside as we leave.
Yes, allow me to emphasize on the professionals who need to get their CPD credits. Please make sure you register before you leave. And the registration is going to be at Inyambo, where, if you know where Inyambo is, and that's where the WHSS offices are. Make sure you go there immediately after lunch and have your name written down.
Yes, so we're not going to stand any longer in front of your lunch, so go ahead and enjoy.
Yeah, as for the tips, the lunch is going to be the same way. Yeah, the speakers are going to have their lunch from Bamboo, and the rest of the delegates, we are going to have our lunch in Kivu. Please, as you take your lunch, we have almost 45 minutes. Move around. There are exhibitions. There are some posters there. People who have not put their posters and they are on the schedule for today, please do that. And those ones who are on the schedule for tomorrow, get reminded to come with your poster. Thank you very much.